Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos both here on YouTube as well as Vimeo, and leave comments on the content that you see here on the Pace Report, as well as visit my website, thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Recently here in New York City, the legendary Dionne Warwick paid a visit to Sirius XM Studios to perform music from her brand new record, She's Back, which is available on iTunes, Amazon.com, and CDBaby.com. Now, this is her first record that she's made in 5 years, and this album is exclusively mixed of R&B songs with special guests ranging from the great Musique Soulchild to the great Krazie from Bones Thugs and Harmony. Now, tonight here on the Pace Report, you're going to see highlights of her official record release performance at Sirius Studios here in New York, but also had a chance to sit down with Miss Warwick to talk about this brand new record. Also reflect on her godmother, who's the legendary Sarah Vaughan, as well as talk about and reflect on some of the producers that helped contribute as well as write some of her most prolific work. So sit back, relax, and enjoy highlights of Miss Dionne Warwick performing music from her brand new record, She's Back, at Sirius XM Studios here in New York as part of the Pace Report here in New York City.
enough to climb, and there are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love. What the world needs right now is love, sweet love.
Miss Warwick, it's always a pleasure to sit down and break bread with you. Congratulations on this brand new record, She's Back.
Yes, she is.
You ain't never left.
Well, it's been a good 5.5 years since I recorded. So and being asked all the time, when are you going to record? When are you going to? So the answer is she's back.
Your son produced this record, and the leadoff track is a song by your dear friend Burt Bacharach and Hal David, What the World Needs Now.
Yes, and it certainly does need it, desperately. It's a song that I have held in reverence for many, many years. And at this point in time, our world is going through such chaos, not to speak of what's going on here in the United States. And I think we need some love now. It's time, we know that God is love, so we need some God.
It's funny because that song is over 50 years old now, and that song is very much relevant now versus when it came out in the 60s.
Yes, indeed. More so now. It's like we've digressed. We've gone back to the 60s, it appears. So it's now time for people to hear this again and now take it for really what it's worth.
Dionne, what are some of the other songs on this album? And I understand that you are going to be going on the road, and also you got a Vegas residency coming soon.
Yes, I do. I'll be in Vegas in April, the month of April. And it's going to be a very exciting time. And I want everybody to come on out and enjoy Vegas with me. I have a couple of wonderful duets. In fact, I got 4 duets. Yeah, 4. One with a young man that I met for the very first time when we walked in the studio to record, Music Soul Child.
Oh, wow.
And this one with Kenny Lattimore, Brian McKnight, and a little surprise. I'm not going to give that one away. But I think people are going to say, what? It's okay. They can say what if they want it. It's wonderful. I'm doing songs written by Brenda Russell, Ashford and Simpson. It's a wonderful CD. I'm so proud of it.
The record industry has changed so much since you came out in the 60s, and the songs reflect a lot of your career. Are you happy with a lot of the newer songwriters and some of the songs that have come out over the last decade?
To be perfectly honest, no, I'm not. And it's only because of the songs that I've been privileged to be a part of, with substance to them, with messages of hope and love and joy and happiness and progress. It doesn't seem to be happening with the music of today for some reason. I haven't a clue as to why, but that's my own opinion. I'm not giving you an opinion of anybody other than myself.
It's interesting that you say that because your career has been really all about the song, but also class and dignity. You've traveled all over the world. You perform with endless dignitaries. And the substance of those songs, people have taken their first dates. Kids have been conceived to your songs. Marriages have happened to your songs. That's got to be a big feeling for you.
It's amazing. And to add to that is to look into your audience and see big smiles or an arm go around the shoulder or somebody grab the hand. To be a part of the smile times in people's lives is quite amazing.
I wanted to talk to you because last time we broke bread, you shared a lot of knowledge. Your godmother is one of my all-time favorite jazz vocalists, the great Sarah Vaughan,
Yes.
who hails from Newark.
Yes, right.
Can you tell me the very first time you heard Sarah's music and what she meant to you as a person as well as professionally?
Well, I grew up around her. My mother went to school with her, so she was like Aunt Sass to me. First time I heard her sing was in church. She played the organ for her church and was part of their choir. I don't know of a better mentor regarding how to deliver a lyric. She caresses a lyric, and she had a way of bringing a song to your ear in the way that you needed to hear it at that point in time.
I read a very, very interesting biography on her, and her musicianship was just unparalleled. She could play, and she could play by ear. And she also, what made her such a strong musician is that during bebop, she could hang and play with the best of them.
Oh, yes, she could. You know, she was more of an instrument, her vocal ability. I mean, there was not, the two people that reminded me of each other, vocals, was Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan. They could do things vocally that I still yet to hear again.
Vocally, I read something that you said many years ago about in the 60s, the Copacabana was like it was like high school for music for you. And you got to see some of the elite performers perform there. What was it about that place that, one, it was an institution, and two, what was some of the performances that kind of stuck out to you when you went there?
Oh, the Copa, my goodness. Everybody in the world played the Copa that was anybody at that time. It was Frank Sinatra, it was Sammy Davis Jr., it was Lena Horne, Count Basie. My goodness, the list just goes on and on and on. I felt very privileged to have had the opportunity to work the Copacabana and work it in succession, not just one time. I had almost a standing period of time that I would work the Copa every year.
The thing that singers of your generation, the biggest thing that I'm finding that's missing now is the grooming of the artist. I mean, Miss Warwick, I mean, and I love music, and I see a lot of shows, and I follow it all. I mean, when I see you, I think of you and Nancy Wilson. There was a class that the clothing, how you walked out, how you performed, how you doctored a song. Are we going to have to go back to that again?
I certainly hope so. I hope we get back to that. I hope that and I call them children, because that's what they are, and so far as I'm concerned. I hope that they do what I did. I took class. I went to watch Diane Carroll. I went to watch Lena Horne, and to Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan and Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra, and the list goes on and on and on. These people were doing what I wanted to do, where I wanted to do it. And how I wanted to do it was with the same aplomb that they did.
What do you think has happened? Why do you think that we've gone from class to ratchet? It's just like now we're in an era of ratchet. It seems to be real cool right now, Miss Warwick.
Yeah, it does. Well, it's being perpetuated by our babies, youth. And it's a sign of the times. And that silly thing called the computer. There you go.
You know, Lena Horne, you brought up Lena Horne. Lena Horne gave you some very, very valuable advice that you still live and die by to this day.
No doubt. And I think this is something that everyone in our industry should know if they don't. Lena told me, you can only be who you are. So that's what I want you to do. Be who you are at all times. You cannot be anybody else but you.
They say the attention, they say we don't get it because they don't get it. They don't get it. I stay true, you do you, I do me. My whole vibe is me, ride with me, trying to see if it was designed to violent. High to me, moving less stress and never no pressure. Keep chasing better, waiting for never. It's a feeling like I never felt before. Like I said before, make me wanna get to know you more and more. It's like deja vu. It feels like deja vu, familiar stranger. Deja vu, deja vu, deja vu.
Could you be the dream that I once knew?
Could you be that dream that I once knew?
Is it you?
Remember, could this be you?
Deja vu,
Deja vu, deja vu, deja vu.
could you be the dream that might come true?
Could you be that dream that might come true?
Shining through,
Could it be the shining through?
I can remember it.
I reminisce, I reminisce.
you. Nights were more than you could know. So long ago. Come to me now. We don't have to dream of love. We know how it was somewhere before. It's as if I loved you so long ago. Deja vu,
Deja vu, deja vu.
could you be the dream I once knew?
Could you be that dream that I once knew?
Shining through.
Feel like real life, cause this be you, you.
Deja vu,
Deja vu, deja vu, deja vu.
could you be the dream that might come true?
Could you be that dream that might come true?
Shining
Could you be
through.
you, shining through?
I keep remembering me.
I reminisce,
I
reminisce.
keep remembering you.
I reminisce, reminisce.
Deja vu,
Deja vu.
deja vu, deja vu.
Yeah.
Deja vu,
Deja vu, deja vu, deja vu.
deja vu,
Deja vu, deja vu, deja vu.
deja vu, deja vu, deja vu, deja vu, deja vu.
Last year, we lost two very important musical vocalists, female vocalists. We lost Nancy Wilson and we lost Aretha Franklin.
Yes.
And my heart went out when she passed away because I have a very, very strong Detroit connection. Can you give me some reflections on Aretha going back to your gospel days and also throughout the years?
Well, Aretha, I met when we were teenagers when we met. And she was on the road with her father. Her father was a brilliant minister. And he happened to be preaching at Abyssinia Baptist Church in Newark, New Jersey. And Aretha would sing prior to him delivering his sermon. As a matter of fact, and I've said, and I don't know how many people recognize the song, but the song that really keeps me thinking about Aretha Franklin as Aretha Franklin is called Never Grow Old. That was the song she would sing before her father preached, and I couldn't believe the voice that came out of that little girl. But she had it, and she still had it, and she will always have it. There's only one Aretha. We all know that. And, I mean, what else can I say? We miss her a lot. Nancy was a dear, dear friend as well, and I certainly miss her an awful lot. That was one of my pinnacle buddies.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes. So, and, you know, I stay in touch with her son, Casey, and we all going to miss her an awful lot. And another wonderful, wonderful artist we lost this year, James Ingram, who happened to also be a dear, dear friend. I was, unfortunately, had to attend his funeral. But it was a joyous evening. It really was. People were there from Ohio, where he was born and raised, and they spoke reverently of him. And what I was so pleased about was when Debbie, his wife, who spoke at the very end of everybody saying what they had to say, she was so strong and so meaningful. And there was a lot of laughter, because that was what James was about. So, you know, we've lost a host of incredible talents over the past 15, 20 years. And, but they're all up there singing in that glorious choir. I can't wait to hear them. I know they're jamming up there.
You know, Miss Warwick, you brought up James Ingram, and James really was, there were three vocalists in the 80s and 90s that dominated pop and R&B. It was Luther Vandross, James Ingram, Jeffrey Osborne.
Yes.
And
Let's not forget about Marvin Gaye.
Yeah. Marvin was, he was the real deal too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up James because when I think of him, I just think that he was in a very, very different class by himself.
Yes, he was. He had that. Oh, I don't want to compare him because you cannot compare anybody to Nat King Cole. But if anybody was to walk into that path, that would have been him.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. Let's go back to orchestrating talent and grooming talent. Marlena Dietrich,
Yeah.
God rest her soul. And you still are doing exactly what she instructed you to do.
Oh, yeah. Couture. You must wear couture. Couture is the thing that you have to wear. Okay, I'm wearing couture. Okay, that's what I'm doing.
Is it true that she came to your dressing room and she threw your stuff out?
I threw them right out in the hall. Like they didn't mean nothing. I thought she had lost her mind. But, she gave me a new kind of look, a look at what the female in the industry is supposed to look like.
Congratulations on the Grammy Award, the highest honor, the Lifetime Achievement Award. In addition to this, you got one more honor that you got to get, and I'm going to start spearheading that. You know what that is, right?
No.
We got to get you in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, you know what?
Gotta get you in there. And we got to get Mr. David and Mr. Bacharach in there also. It's time. You know this.
Well, you know what? They never thought I was rock and roll, so.
Okay, so Nina Simone wasn't rock and roll
No,
either.
she certainly was and never will be.
Right.
But she received that honor, which I'm thrilled for her, and that's going to be a part of her legacy. Things happen when they're supposed to happen. I'm a firm believer in that. And if, in fact, it's supposed to happen, it will.
One of the most important parts of your career was the song. But the next part I want to ask you about is your producer. Your son produced this project, and you've had a very, very prolific career working with some of the greatest producers. I don't need to ask you how these different producers worked with your genius as a vocalist and a stylist. The first one I want to ask you about is Tommy Bell.
Oh. Thom. He spells with Thom, not Tom, Thom, Thom. My buddy. I love Tom very, very much. He came along at a time that was relevant to me. It was during the period that Bacharach David had split. Tom brought me some wonderful songs by he and Linda Creed and a few other of those wonderful songwriters out of Philadelphia. And he was very, very cognizant of what I was going through at that period of time. So the songs that I sang on Track of the Cat were very relevant to what Dionne Warwick was about, and he knew it. And then he gave us a little gem called Then Came You that I sang with the Spinners. And so I have a very, very warm and sacred spot in my heart for him.
Did you know Then Came You was going to be a big hit?
No, but he did. He told us off the bat, this is his song for y'all. You're going to sing it. The Spinners and I had just completed a summer tour together. And I took him into Vegas with me to open my show at the Riviera. And our closing night was when Tom was there for our closing. He says, I got a gift for you guys. I said, you do? And I thought it was something wonderful, like a piece of cake or something good. He said, I got a song for y'all, and you're going to do it. I said, okay. We listened to the demo of it. The next day, we went to L.A., recorded it. Next thing we knew, I had my very first #1 recording.
Wow.
Very first.
And I've always said Tommy did his best work with the Spinners and the Stylistics.
Stylistics, yes. In fact, there were many, many times most people said, who's Stylistics doing singing your music for? I said, Russell's trying to sing like you. I said, no, Russell's singing like Russell, okay? But a lot of the songs that they sang, I could very easily have sung.
Right. Yeah. Facts. The next one, I've always said that he's gotten a very bad rap because of disco, but I've always thought that Barry Gibb produced two great albums. He produced that colossal record with Barbra Streisand, and then he produced that colossal record with you, Heartbreaker.
Yeah.
What was Barry like in the studio?
Oh, there were all three of them. It wasn't just Barry.
Right.
The brothers Gibb, you know, and they were wonderful. They did not try to make Dionne something that she wasn't. You know, they all appreciated the fact that I was bringing what I brought to the table, and they brought music to the table for me to sing. We had a lot of fun. We laughed more than we sang. I'll tell you, really. We recorded in Florida, and it was a joy working with them, an absolute joy. They were wonderful young men. I miss both Maurice and Robin very, very much. But Barry's still hanging out, and he's still doing his thing, you know, which is wonderful to know. And it was wonderful working with them, really. They're very musical, very musical.
That harmony. That is what, woo, that's the nail in the coffin for them.
Oh, yeah, you know, it's family.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
I miss Luther Vandross.
You.
I think the world would be a better place if we had more real. He was the complete package. He could write it, he could produce it, he could play it. And there was what was mesmerizing. I got to see him a couple of times. Just he did exactly what you did to the song. He took ordinary words that made the magic.
Yeah. Well, you know, not necessarily they were ordinary words. They were words that we used literally every single day of our lives. Words that meant something to us, words that conveyed messages of all those wonderful things. Love, you know, that's primary. And there was no one I knew that could take a song and own it. And I said on several occasions, I said to Backrack David, I also said to Luther, I said, you know, the definitive version for Of a House Is Not a Home, as far as I'm concerned, is that, the definitive version. Luther had a wonderful way of taking anybody's song and making it his own. And he took several of mine to do that, too, I'll tell you. Luther was, he was not just a friend. Luther was family with me. And I'd get calls from him at 3 o'clock in the morning. Did you see the wrestling match last night? What wrestling match? You know, he was a wrestling fanatic. So, and you know, when he was out on tour and he needed to talk to somebody, he would take up the phone and call him. It didn't matter what time of day or night. And it was a joy to hear his voice at any given time. So I miss him terribly, really miss him. When he did A House Is Not a Home for me at the NAACP Awards, that night, I think anybody that saw the televised version of it saw the emotion that came out of me with him singing, because he sang that one for me, to me. It was a privilege.
You know, Luther is very responsible for giving you a very, very big hit, and he was very responsible for resuscitating Miss Franklin's career as well.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. You know, that's what Luther was about, giving.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace. I'd like to personally congratulate and thank the incomparable Miss Dionne Warwick for her time. Make sure you go out and buy her brand new CD, She's Back, which is now available on Target.com, Amazon.com, as well as iTunes. I'd like to personally thank the staff and management at Sirius XM Studios for their warm hospitality. Also, the legendary Angelo Ellerby for arranging my time with Miss Warwick. As always, please like, share, and subscribe to my videos here on YouTube and Vimeo, and feel free to leave comments on the content that you've seen. Also, visit my website, thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.
What the world is love, is love, sweet love. No, not enough to climb. And there are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet, sweet love. It's the only thing